Factories, I've done all kinds. I've worked in a pickle factory. I've worked in car factories. I've made sandwiches in sort of weird chemical factories. I've worked in a charcoal factory. All the glamorous jobs before I was a teacher.
Well, there we go. There we go. A pickle factory.
Oh God,
I can't imagine like how complicated is the pickling process, but I guess it must be very if you need a whole factory.
Pretty simple.
Okay, so
fill bucket of onions, carry bucket of onions, put bucket of onions in your section of machine. Go back, repeat. Repeat.
You know those guys when they're repairing the road or putting down some tarmac or something, and there's the guy standing there with a stop-go sign.
Yeah.
So you know these
like
days,
that.
yeah, these days obviously there's temporary traffic lights, but there used to be the guy stand there with a big stop sign. He twists it 180 degrees and it says go. I remember that when we were driving past roadworks like that, my mum would point at that person and say, "Look, if you don't try hard in school, that's the job you're going to get." Which I loved. I said like that, Mum. You know, I'm 5. That's a great job. As far as I didn't phrase it quite as eloquently as that, but I said that sounds fine by me. I want to be the stop-go man.
You learn something from all of these experiences, and I realised later, actually, I mean, all of that helped me massively when I started teaching. I think, and I think the fact that I kind of came at education from a kind of, I don't know, a slightly kind of outsider perspective was very useful for me. I now realise, you know, didn't necessarily know it at the time, but I think the fact that I'd already met and mingled with an incredibly sort of wide range of different people and learned how to be around different kinds of people was very, very useful. And I mean, I did other things, like I did door work on rough bars and clubs in South London, and that was all very useful as well. So when it kind of came to teaching, and you know, my nice, polite, upper middle class directors of studies were asking me if I thought I'd be able to kind of deal with crowd control, it was like, you know, how bad can it be? Does anyone ever come back and threaten to shoot you? No, I'll be fine. You know, so I think all of those things, that I always feel like this with friends of mine who've got teenage kids, where they're like, he doesn't know what to do with his life, and it's like, well, he's 19, let him do whatever shit comes his way, and you know, he'll soon realize that he doesn't want to be the stop-go man or the pickle factory gopher for the rest of his life, and he'll do something else after that.
And if he does want to work in a pickle factory, then more power to him. You
know, and I was never that person who had a life plan or a career mapped out, or I just kind of stumbled from interesting thing to interesting thing, paying the rent as I went.
I think that's the right way. I've said this on the podcast before. Everything I try to do, I try to focus on what's in front of me, and I try and do that. Sorry, I hit my microphone stand. I try to do the best job that I can possibly do, right down to the minute details. You know, am I planning this lesson in the correct way? What color, what font should I make this so it's clearest on the screen? And just really focusing on the task in front of you. And then you tend to find that everything else is a second order effect, and it works itself out. Obviously, that's a simplification, but it's generally true. If you correct the inputs, you will get desirable outputs.
And I think just also kind of following your nose, following your interests, and like you said, kind of putting some love into what it is you're working on and seeing where that leads you.
Yeah, and that results in happy teachers, happy students. You know, getting more specifically talking about English now. That results in happy teachers, happy students, and you know, someone who really shows love for the craft and is not just going through the motions, is not just box ticking. You tend to find that you know, those types of teachers, they need very little in the way of guidance. It just it works itself out.
No, I couldn't agree more.
And the dangerous thing as well with you know, with, like, as you say, like trying to, because there's nothing wrong with career planning, obviously, but you know, obsessing about it every minute of the day, and you know, fantasizing about the perfect life you're going to have 10 years down the line, and then when either that never happens or it does happen, and you know, this is how people have midlife crises, is that You know, suddenly you get to, you know, you open your pension pot, or you get to the big 5-0 when you've got the Mercedes, and you've got the house of your dreams, and you've got the kids and everything, and you're like, okay, is this it? Have I arrived? Am I on the golden shore? Is this the thing? And of course, there is no thing. It's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. We got pretty deep there. Let's go back to let's go back to English.
This isn't your normal ELT podcast, I can see.
Oh no, there's nothing normal about this podcast. Yeah, we're pushing boundaries and redefining concepts, and that is a huge mug of tea you've got there, Hugh, if you don't mind me saying so. I thought mine was fairly sizable.
No,
Hang on, hold it up to the camera again. That is, how much tea does one man need? Wow.